The most satisfying aspect of the first story arc in Spawn: The Dark Ages is that it is a fully resolved, self-contained story arc. Unlike Al Simmons' never-ending origin story, Covenants is told already, with no pressing loose ends in just 4 issues. There is still plenty of mystery to be potentially explored. Covenant does not know or care why Hell chose him or returned him to Earth, just like Al. But Al's reason for not pursuing the knowledge of what he accidentally signed up for is selfish and unrealistic. He clings to a life he can never return to, and no matter how obvious the universe makes it that there is no place left for him with Wanda, he does not get the hint for 80 issues. By contrast, Covenant's first character arc is learning to accept that very fact, and that becomes his reason for not pursuing any understanding of his hellish rebirth. It was, as he calls it, foolish crusades that sent him to hell in the first place, and he instantly latched on to another foolish crusade upon his return to Earth, taking up what he thought was a noble cause and overthrowing a tyrant he trusted with his power, who, it turns out, abused that power because of a mistake Covenant himself made. He should know having to face what he has become is inevitable, but he seeks a new path because the path of evil is the one he's been unintentionally walking for years, and clearly nothing good is coming from that. He is tired of making the same mistakes, the precise lesson Al never seems to learn. Revallin reveals what the 3 female spirits or demons or goddesses, even the narrator does not know what they really are, wanted in return for helping to save his wife. They are after a cross made from Jesus' crucifix, a secret magical relic. Covenant, in his darker days, stole the cross from his mother and foolishly gave it to the peasant girl he fell in love with. It turns out she actually was not his wife. They had a secret and inappropriate affair because of her lesser social class, and he was not aware she was pregnant when he went abroad to slaughter Muslims. If he had never stolen the cross, Revallin would not have taxed the land to the point of imprisoning all the peasants. He did that in desperation, trying to find the cross. So Covenant is indirectly responsible for creating the injustice that sparked his righteous revolution. That does not excuse Revallin from his crimes, and it seems odd that Covenant blames himself completely and walks away as if he did not just end a horrible oppression of his people, and he leaves the kingdom to a mentally unstable and emotionally broken man just because his wife died, who also happened to be Covenant's sister. I appreciate Covenant's realization that the very thing that makes him feel like a man again is a war his own haunting past helped bring about, although it was in a really roundabout way, and is the kind of thinking that turned him into the human monster he is in denial about becoming. The recurring theme is creating your own demons, personified in DuBlanc, who, it's revealed here, got his own evil power from the 3 witches Revallin made his ill-considered deal with. Covenant should have used his brain before his blade and spoken with his brother-in-law before blindly acting. He's created not 1 devil in himself, but now 2. I like the image of 2 armies led by a man-turned-monster, fueled by self-righteous rage and a desire to reclaim former glory. And while it is strange Covenant no longer cares about the fate of his people suddenly, I like that he recognizes the consequences of his ignorance. But the specifics of this arc's finale are poorly executed. The battle ends with the 3 witches showing up for no good reason and complaining that Spawn has hurt their new pet, red-eyed, angsty demon knight, which distracts Spawn long enough for DuBlanc to stab him in the chest, and he just runs off. It's not long before Spawn either heals that wound or McCormick Sharp just decides to stop drawing it. I somehow expected to see that hole still there issues after this. When DuBlanc stabs him, Spawn doesn't even fall down. Does DuBlanc somehow think he has killed him? What just happened? Why is the battle magically over? And then the cross. How did Covenant's mother conveniently end up with what would surely be an artifact as coveted as the Holy Grail? Why do the witches want it? What does it do? Does it have magic powers? Or would it just fetch a nice price on 6th century eBay? How did Cagliostro get it, as revealed in the end? That plot point seems to be there for dramatic flair. Look, Cog knows everything and won't let these demonesses get their hands on this thing, so he had to let all those peasants suffer and die, even though those demonesses aren't very threatening, and I have no idea what the stakes are. Seriously, the three witches or demonesses or whatever do nothing. They capture Spawn, let him go, give a guy red eyes, and then show up as a nonsensical Deus Ex Machina. Then Cog trusts the cross to that boy with the apple, and he turns out to be the narrator. Cute. Why does he trust a 12-year-old with a thing he decided on his own was worth mass slaughter? But the story makes more sense than a lot of Spawn stories, and I do appreciate all the answers to questions I had in previous issues, even if some of them seemed contrived or forced. Also, this issue has strange grammatical errors. A dark gloom descended up the Hellspawn. How can something descend up? Ever since reading this comic, I find I cannot stop thinking about DuBlanc. He seems so familiar. Vain, arrogant, ruthless, hell-bent on retribution, created by the very enemy he seeks to destroy. I remember everything.